Welcome back to the Man of War podcast. My name is Rafa Conde, of course, a man on a mission here to forge you into the best version of yourself, to be a stronger father, husband, leader, visionary, a man of action. Again, welcome to the Man of War podcast.
Of Man of War, Rafa Conde.
Arnold West. Welcome to the Man of War podcast, my brother.
Thank you, Coach Rafa. Glad to be here, all
Awesome.
the way from North Carolina.
Welcome. Well, today we have something very special that we're going to talk about. The Odyssey, a program for young men. Finally, all the emails, all the DMs that we've received, we are executing. But before we get into that, I want to introduce this man right here. All right, he is a beacon in his community. He is a beacon in the Man of War society, a breath of fresh air. So let's go a little bit into who you are and what you're about. And let's kind of take you down a road. I know that you are a man, you're a very close friend, but you're a man of action, a man who really inspires other men to be stronger in every facet. And this is why you're one of our head coaches here. But with that said, let's get to know you a little bit.
Hey, thanks, Coach Rafa. One of the greatest things that my parents and our community laid a great foundation was honesty, integrity, hard work, and looking at the good in every situation. When I looked at the Man of War Crucible, I seen myself, this is something I needed. When you laid out the foundation of the Odyssey, I knew that our society, with the young men growing up, they needed this in a foundation for everyday life. So they would grow up and have that foundation for their families in their own community.
I love that, man. Talking about the young people, right? And let's go back a little bit with your life. You've had so many. You've had some great stories that we've discussed privately, and maybe we should bring those to light. One of the things that I remember you telling me was every time a person walks into my restaurant, they are quartered, they are welcomed.
That's right.
So
you go anywhere and have a meal. We're going to we're going to serve you an experience. And, it's more than just the flavor. The handshake of the host determines the taste of the roast. So when you go into our restaurant, we want you to have that warm feeling. And when you leave, I want you to feel like family.
Many people ask me what my coach's credentials are. Those guys that are just hunting, those who have credentials in the military or law enforcement. And I tell many that credentials go beyond just carrying a gun and a badge and a rifle, right? There is weight in life. You've been a successful entrepreneur. You built millions of dollars in revenue with restaurants. And the question here is this. Military is not your background.
No.
What drove you to come into the Man of War? Because a lot of people get this idea that this is just military, that this is just about, executing in wartime and so on. But I think people really miss the essence. And you as one of my leadership men, one of my leadership coaches, what really brought you in here?
I was successful on many facets as the people saw me. But deep down, I was searching for something. I was missing something in my daily life. I was missing the true treasure, that drive. And when I seen it advertised, I said, this is what I want. And I made that decision right then. I called. I got the interview. I came in, and it was life-changing. The Man of War Crucible saved me and saved my life. and it does do exactly what you advertise as far as creating a better man on every facet. Not a perfect, but it improves. It gives you the drive, the accountability, the responsibility. It shows the men and develops the men that responsibility in their community. When you're faced with adversity, when you're family, you rise up. When you have adversity in your community, you rise up.
Well, Arnold, listen, man, you are a champ in my book. You're a man of honor. And for those who want to come here and bring their sons, this is the father-son program, and you want to meet Arnold, he is a guiding light, without a doubt.
There's not another program in the world like the Odyssey. I'm telling you.
Amen to that. Coach Kevin.
In the
Welcome,
house.
Man. What's
Good to
going
be
on?
here. Everything is just exploding. It's blowing up all around us, and I can't believe where we are after putting this program together 5 years ago and then seeing what it's evolved into and seeing where we are now with the Odyssey. It's just phenomenal.
Love it, man. Love it. I had Coach Arnold a little bit ago. We were talking about, the evolution of the Man of War Crucible and then now going into the Odyssey, and it's just it's surreal, man. It really is.
Yes, it is.
So let's take you back a little bit, all right? When we, built this and we started going to the first few crucibles and getting to meet men, what did you notice most about the men inside the Man of War Crucible that they were changing and how they were, taking this program?
Like we set out from the beginning, we wanted to show men that they were capable of a lot more than they realized. And we were there to show them they could push past their self-imposed limitations. And seeing them come through the challenges that we put them through in the program and come out the other side and realizing that they could stand tall because they did something that was really meaningful and really had an impact in their lives, that was impactful for us as well. It changed us just as much as it changed them. And seeing as it grows as it has been with just this exponential growth, it's just really amazing to see where it's come in a very short time. Yeah. And I think that the feedback we get from these men helps us to be better coaches and helps us to refine our techniques as we go forward and be just, continue to this, vision that you came up with to help society reclaim manhood, essentially.
For sure, for sure. So let's go back a little bit with your background, because one of the things that I was talking about with Coach Arnold was that this program is not a military-based program. This is not about law enforcement. This is not about firefighting. It's not about how many times a man has been deployed. This program is really about forging men into warriors for today's world, for the world that we live in, right? So it's not just about guns. And yes, we love guns and we love knives and all that, but that's just one of the elements, right? Now, you just retired. Let's go back a little bit with your credentials, okay? Because people ask me, what are the coach's credentials? What are they? So I'm always saying, look, we have it all, but more importantly, this is not about that. It's about how each person shows up today.
Oh, if you start from the beginning, I went in the military right out of high school. I joined the 82nd Airborne because I wanted to be a paratrooper because, as you remember, it was back in the 80s after the Rambo movies came out, and that was the idea of the ideal man, running around through barbed wire bare-chested with your muscles glistening and everything. That was the vision of a real man back then.
Sure.
And it's not that way anymore. So going through the military, did 3 years of active duty. Later on, went back in after 9/11 into the reserves and deployed to Iraq. In between then, I had almost 27 years of law enforcement under my belt. And what I saw, and we talked about this back when you had the dojo, was that you saw a decline, as I did, in manhood in the recruits that were coming through as the years progressed. And you stood back after so many years and you're like, what happened? What changed? and how do we reclaim what we had? So,
Yeah, for sure. So 27 years, who did you work for?
Immigration and Customs Enforcement is who I retired from.
Right.
Yeah.
So you worked for ICE, but you didn't just work for there. You were a rack.
I worked my way up to
ASAP.
assistant field office
Right.
director. Yeah.
Right. So, and then from there, in between there, you did, SWAT, and, you did training, and, you did a lot of great things. You're a very humble guy, but you have a great background. You're a Purple Heart recipient.
Yes.
You have a lot of weight behind you. You're humble. You don't really speak about it. And I think people respect you for that, because the reality is that you don't toot your horn much. And, you're just here set out with a plan, and you're a strong man of faith. You've really taken, and I've seen you over the last few years really dive into your faith, which is very honorable. And you're a very righteous man, someone that is very loyal. And, we love to have you here, as part of our leadership team. And I really believe that you have evolved and grown tremendously over the last 5-6 years. All right, man. Thank you for being on. I appreciate you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Coach Blake, welcome to the Man of War podcast. I know you're all about the limelight, man. All right, you're going to give us a few minutes of your time that we're going to get to pick your brain. So, first and foremost, you came out of Group 3. G3, man. It's been, holy cow, it's been a long, long time. All right, so talk to me a little bit about I want to know when you came out of that group, how you felt.
So coming out of that Group 3.
Put the mic up a little bit to your head. Yeah.
There we go. You'd mentioned, so Group 3, when we come out of there, it really was a big shift for me. There was something missing in my everyday life, something that just you don't find every day. And when you have that fire reignited and that vision that you don't just get anywhere, it really started to resonate that there was more to just a job or providing for your family, but striving to be a better person and not just being okay with the status quo. And that's really what for me is through athletics or business, things like that when you get to a certain position or a certain spot that it doesn't seem like anybody around you is wanting to strive or be better, you just kind of fit in, and I didn't sit well with me. And when I found the program, it pushes you outside of your comfort zone. It pushes you to be a better person and be okay with not just fitting into a box. And that's really what, for me, making it through, and then since then, is how can I get out of that comfort zone? How can I push myself? In what areas am I going to challenge myself to try to be a better person, a better father, better business, and a better leader all the way around?
I love that. Now, you came through Group 3, and I remember, man, we were flooded to the max. That was rainy. It was cold. That was a fucked up crucible. You talk about challenging. That was just outside the box. But we called you Mountain Man. You were strong as an ox, man. You helped a lot of men get through this program. And initially we just picked you right off. I mean, we were like, man, this guy has coach material. And ever since then, you've been a coach, then you were promoted to leadership. And you've been a staple here in the Men of War Society. And, we're honored to have you on because you're a guy that is all about, you're a go-getter. You're very, very low key, but you know your shit, and that's what it's about. Talk to me a little bit about your life, growing up and, where you are now and basically where you want to head here over the next few years.
So growing up for me was small town, little town in Kansas. Grew up on a wheat farm. Work ethic was always a big part of my childhood, growing up, learning from my grandfathers, my uncle, and my dad. Just family oriented all the way around. Family came first, things like that. And just like I said, work ethic was probably one of the biggest things that I can take from my childhood is you always, nothing was ever going to just be given to you. You were going to earn it. And even now I feel like that's something that I instill in my children and my family is you're going to earn it. Nothing is that's worth it is going to just be handed over. So
Absolutely. We're going to focus on making sure that these men that graduate from these odysseys are stronger and that they will have a vision and a purpose going forward. They will never forget this program. Alongside the fathers, the guides, this is going to be a transition for both of them as families, father and son, hoping to build that family unit even tighter. But with men like you on board, guiding the way and helping these young men, I think the sky is the limit here. Thank you for being on, brother. I appreciate you.
absolutely.
Coach Jason, welcome to the Man of War podcast, brother.
I'm happy to be here, Coach.
All right, here we go. So you are one of our lead coaches. You were actually one of our first coaches coming out of G2. I had Coach Blake earlier here. He was G3, but man, you came from the start. So let's just kind of go back a little bit in time, and then we're going to talk a little bit about your background. But tell me how, when you went through, how it changed you and why you are part of our leadership team now after all these years and you're still around.
Well, Coach, let me start with me going through the crucible. Pretty much, it was an amazing experience. It was more spiritual for me. Of course, all the physical aspect, the leadership, everything, the cool hoorah stuff. I love all that stuff because I'm prior military. It resonated with me with the whole leadership concept, being a better man, being a better father, being a better business leader, business owner, because that's basically my life summed up. I come from a good background, grew up a good kid, military background, and then fast forward to the question you just asked me about the crucible. I saw the testimonies from, I guess, one of the prior coaches, Sean Bergen, and it hit me. And when I saw him just all in somebody's face, just yelling, I'm like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to be that coach that pushes other men to be better. So how can I do that? Well, first of all, let me go ahead and sign up. Signed up, had a great conversation with, I think it was Coach Kevin at the time. Did my interview, and boom, here we are. Boots on ground, day one. It's fucking nightmare.
Yeah. A lot of guys don't really get that, but it is. And from that time frame, we selected you. We were like, man, this guy, he will be great coach material. And here you are. You have never missed a crucible since G2, and we're going to be bringing on G18 in just a few weeks. So here we are switching gears to the Odyssey. Now we're going to hunt young men and change them to be stronger leaders, to be gallant warriors, to be gentlemen of action. This is going to be a tremendous challenge for us here going into Odyssey 1. Are you up for the challenge?
Oh, God, yes. Man, that's on top of leading just men, getting to the root, the foundation of the man starts with the boy, the young man. And once you can get to that nerve in that young man and spark a bit of inspiration in him and guide him and get him on a right direction, that's even more powerful because you're starting from the bottom pretty much. That's the foundation. And this young man is going to grow, and hopefully he remembers everything that we teach him and uses this to do great things.
I love that, man. Look, bottom line is, we are focused and honored to have my leadership coaches in this first Odyssey. I think it's going to be life-changing. I think you're going to go out there and you're going to kick ass like you normally do.
No.
And these young men better be ready because it is going to be wrath, a tremendous wrath here over the next couple of days, but life-changing. And our goal is to make these men better, without a doubt.
Yeah, these young men better watch out because I'm a father of daughters. I have 3 daughters and no boys. So, and I'm hard on them. So if they start crying, it's going to be on.
There you go. You heard that here before the Odyssey 1 goes live. Coach Jason, thank you for being on, man.
Thank you,
God
sir.
bless you guys.